I want to explain the stages and steps of emotionally focused couples therapy. This is a roadmap designed to help couples break negative cycles and access more vulnerable emotions and build secure bonds. However, we want to think of these stages and steps not so much as a plan that we're going to take them through, but more what will happen for a couple as they go through the process of EFT. Once they get a better sense of their cycle and understand what's happening, they will begin to stabilize. And that is the first stage. So, in the beginning of our sessions, we will assess what's happening, observe, do an attachment history with each partner in individual sessions, and we'll build a sense of connection with them and a sense of who they are and what helps them to really feel connected. And then we'll help them see and identify the patterns of communication, which we call the negative cycle, and help them step outside of the dynamic and observe it, and hopefully come together as a team to be aware of and to find a way out of that cycle rather than turning against each other. We also want them to be gaining more access to their underlying emotions, which is step 3. We often are aware of our more reactive and surface emotions, but less conscious of those deeper emotions, the more vulnerable ones. And so in stage 1, we're helping them to build that connection with their inner world. As they build this connection, they will start to see that these ways that they're reacting and interacting are really a way of trying to stabilize and trying to ground when they're feeling insecure and unsteady in the relationship. So we have these ways that our nervous system responds, these reactions that we have, but those reactions are more in response to kind of a sense of threat, and they feel often threatening to our partner. They look like criticism, they look like anger, they look like defensiveness, and so those are what are showing up and what we're observing. But what we're not communicating about is, I feel really scared when we're disconnected. I'm afraid I'm going to lose you. Or I am reminded of a relationship from the past where I was rejected or abandoned or hurt. And so if we could communicate about that more vulnerable part, we would be able to understand my partner isn't out to get me. They aren't, they may come across as critical, but there's something more going on. So that is where in step 4, we begin to reframe these things happening in terms of a cycle instead of these the problem at hand, and we see them more as attachment strategies for securing our attachment or making sure we stay connected, as opposed to being mean or being critical or the ways that we tend to perceive our partner's behavior. So that's kind of the stabilization stage, where as they begin to see that, typically things begin to de-escalate. They begin to see, okay, I see we're in our cycle now. I need to find a way to shift gears, to change the channel and see things differently. Once they begin to stabilize in that way and things start to de-escalate, we have the opportunity to restructure which is stage 2, and to create new ways of interacting, new ways of engaging with each other. So if they've done some good work in step 3 of accessing these underlying emotions, they're more able and ready to do step 5, which is to access core attachment needs. So I can begin to recognize, wow, I'm feeling really angry right now. What is the deeper emotion here? What's coming up for me in terms of my attachment needs? What am I trying to accomplish with my behavior? Usually I'm trying to feel more safe and secure, bring my partner closer, make sure we stay connected, or I'm trying to, as withdrawers do, I'm trying to keep things quiet, keep things calm, and that's more happening when someone is inclined to pull away and turn down the noise to keep peace and stay connected by reducing the conflict. So there's different strategies, which we put into categories of pursuers and withdrawers, which I'll also explain in another video. But in step 5, we begin to recognize, oh, I'm pursuing now. I'm going to access my vulnerable emotions and my core attachment needs and maybe begin to talk about those instead of criticism or, attack or some other, or defensiveness or shutting down. Step 6 is where we're to build an acceptance of ourselves and of our partner. And we can accept these needs and we can kind of be willing to help each other out. I need to be responsible for the way that I'm communicating, and I can also show interest and care and concern for what my partner goes through and accept that sometimes they will not communicate their needs kindly or in a way that feels respectful, but I can begin to understand they are a human being and I'm a human being, and we're two people trying to stay connected and trying to live in this world with a lot of emotions and a lot of life experiences and a lot of uncertainty. And step 7 is facilitate emotional engagement and new interactional patterns. So we really begin to communicate in a new way. And this is not concrete step by step, but it is kind of, and that's why it gets really confusing for people. But they are all things you will see happen, kind of, stepping between one step and another, but generally moving in this direction. The third stage is consolidation. And this is, a stage that doesn't always happen with couples. We don't always have sessions about consolidation, but we do begin to talk about new rituals, new strategies for dealing with conflict, and ways to really reinforce the new ways of connecting. This can also be an opportunity to look back at where they've been and where they've come and see their relationship as this unfolding story of two human beings who have come together, who are trying to form a life together, who are trying to stay connected and to feel safe in the world and to support one another. So, as you're learning EFT, it's good to have a picture of these 3 stages and 9 steps, and it can be a roadmap. However, I encourage you not to get bogged down in which stage am I in and what step am I on, and instead focus on the EFT Tango, which has become much more of an emphasis in EFT learning, and I'll address that in another video.